Hello everybody, this is Arasai Winterthorn from the Jedi Conclave. Um, so I did a video yesterday. It was just a bit of a ramble, but in getting to it, I opened up my copy of The Light of the Jedi, saying that there was quite a few lessons in here. And today I want to go over one of them. I'm not super far into it, and I still have quite a bit more to go. And I've just had the next two books of the High Republic series just delivered, so I am very much behind, but let's get through this. So, I'm not going to do any spoilers. This is just a matter of lessons. If there is going to be spoilers, I'm going to try to avoid to do it entirely, or I would mark it before we do it. So there is no spoilers for this. This is simply a lesson from a couple of paragraphs. That I think is very, very, very interesting. So I'm going to read it off, starting from where I know there won't be any spoilers. Yeah. So this starts on page 48 of The Light of the Jedi, about halfway down the page. One of the characters has to use her lightsaber. Not gonna say how, not gonna say why. It's just a matter that they actually took the time to describe what her lightsaber looks like, and that's very interesting. Its hilt was a dark cerakote. I should probably have looked up how to say this word. Cerakote, cerakote, cerakote. I know it's like I know what it looks like, but I actually just don't know the word because I've only ever read it. So that's life. Its hilt was a dark cerakote and with a heavily tarnished copper crosspiece, so cross guard. The blade, when lit, shone blue. The thing was scratched and gouged with use, and had an unsightly blob of solder up near the business end, where she welded one of the components back on when it fell off. If there was an uglier lightsaber in the order, she had not seen it. Let me skip down a no, don't skip down. But it turned on when she wanted to, and the kyber crystal that powered it remained as pure and resonant as the day she found on Ilum so long ago. I'm just gonna say she rather than the name, don't want to give any spoilers. Could she have refreshed the blade if she wanted to? Absolutely. Many Jedi change their hilts regularly, whether due to adjustments in fighting techniques, technological innovations, or even, on occasion, just style, aesthetics, fashion, as you would call it. She had no interest in any of that. Her lightsaber, ugly as it was, served as a perfect reflection of the great truth of the Force. No matter what a person was like on the outside, inside, everybody was made of light. Now, yay. There's me reading. I hope that wasn't as much as stilted as I thought it was. I don't typically read out loud, so yeah, that's the passage I wanted to go through for this particular book so far. There's other lessons earlier on, but this one I think is a good starting off point in regards to lessons. So, what does it mean? So they change up their lightsabers regularly, try to figure out what's best for them, which is good. Okay, so once again, I'm gonna pull out my one as an example. This, when I started out, was a Rom Coda inspired saber. It was a lot shorter. I don't think I have the piece on hand, but the original emitter only went up to here. It was an angled emitter, only went up to here. The wrap was gray. The pommel was actually a flat pommel. So I've changed things. I added this pommel because it's heavier, it helps balance things out a little bit more. I added a longer section so my hand fits perfectly there without having to go over the buttons. It just helps me control it, but also I like this because I can't slide down to the blade. My other one just had an angled emitter, and as a result your hand could slide up onto the blade. There was no protection there, so you either had to hold it all the way down here, which felt very awkward and forward heavy. But I started holding it here because the blade goes into this line. So I'm actually much more in control of even longer blades as a result. So I adjusted mine for my technique. even in the lightsaber building community, you'll see people who will upgrade their sabers because of technological innovations. Right now, NeoPixel is the big thing, because right now mine is baselit, which means there's an LED at the very bottom there. You can sort of see it. And there's a light in the bottom, and it shines up the blade. But now we put those all the way up the blade, so it shines outwards. Is much more bright. Um, so technological innovations or just style, fashion, what's cool. I have a crossguard saber because I remember I came to the Jedi Path shortly after the Force Awakens trailer dropped, and I thought that was like the crossguard was super cool. It was initially my plan to start off with a crossguard saber, and now I have one and I don't use it. It just doesn't work as well for me. Like it was interesting, it was fun, but in the end, this is my hilt, and it's balanced right. I've spent a lot of time making sure this thing works for me. Now, but that's not the super important part. Like these are expensive tools, but and they have like you can never have one of these and still be an excellent Jedi. This is just fun. It's an accoutrement to the overall aesthetic. And as a cultural Jedi, I don't do the whole religious side of things. I've decided to pursue it more as like a subculture. Having these symbols around, like I have a holocron over there. I have a pile of sabers and my Temple Guard mask and my modified tank trooper helm. Um, yeah, I just have Jedi stuff everywhere. Books, there's tons of books, all Jedi related, philosophy related. I view it as a culture. Now, so I view these differently from other people would. But what the passage talks about is that no matter how ugly something is on the outside, on the inside, it's still made of light. In the end, this thing could be relicked. Okay, it could have deep gouges throughout it. The leather could be halfway ripped off. The pommel can be missing entirely. But in the end, if it does this, it works. Correct. I've seen some crazy like destroy like some that look like they've been partially melted. Like I remember one guy did a Vader like as if it like had been found after it survived the Death Star explosion. It's been like partially melted and deep scarring and scoring and like ash like infused into it. It just looks like it's been through hell. It still turns on. I think that's a very important lesson in itself. Is it doesn't matter what it looks like on the outside. Now it says how ugly it is, but also it could be how pretty it is. This thing could be made out of 24 karat gold, pure gold, with the finest Corinthian leather and all the bells and whistles and I don't know, dodo bird feathers out the pommel and the tooth of a mammoth as like a claw or whatever. I don't know. Like it could be the most extravagant lightsaber in the world, and I have an example for that. There is one out there called well, 6 out there called the Black Mamba. There are only 6 out there, and each one, when it goes on sale, is usually ends up being bought for about $6,000. It is gorgeous. It is beautiful. It is aesthetically pleasing. It is one of the top of the line sabers. Nobody wants to use it. Like they get it and it goes. They take it very carefully. They wear their gloves, like the plastic gloves, to make sure they don't stain it or anything, and they put it up on a shelf. And that's where it lives. A $6,000 paperweight. So the important part isn't like for me it's like yeah on the inside we're all made of light, which is true for both that and mine, which was it I got mine half off like and then I've modified it over the years, and it's all covered in scratches and dings and bumps and like just straight up like there's sections where there's like here got like this little chunk of metal missing where I had two hilts collide into each other while I was learning Jarkai over a year ago. There's like, yeah, there's tons of dings all over it. It is not a pretty saber as a result. It's gone through a lot. Like even the leather that it came with, it was this beautiful light gray, and it recently came off just because it's been through everything, and eventually it just came off. So I replaced it with this beautiful, like genuine calfskin leather. It's so soft. It's so pliable. It's very, very nice. It's very, very pleasing, and also it just looks nicer than that light gray. I sometimes see pictures of it and I'm like, wait a second, what was I even doing with that? A lot of people seem to think that I was gray because my lightsaber was white and I had light gray leather on mine. I was like, that's not how the Force works. So, okay. In the end, yes, the whole, it doesn't matter what you're on the outside, what matters is on the inside we're all made of light. But if something is made of light and it's never used, what's the point? Now, mine may not be the prettiest in the world, but it turns on, and I turn it on quite regularly. I train regularly. I go out there and I inspire people, like, not just because I do film and I put it on YouTube and Facebook and all that, and people are inspired by it. But I meet people as a result of this, like, not people that are interested, like maybe I've never, that's not true. My first couple months in, I met somebody who actually did have one, but we didn't exchange details, so we never saw each other again. But I've met people even just recently. One of my new neighbors was very, very thrilled. He's looking at actually getting one, so who knows? But he came out and talked to me, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like, and I get this all the time. Like, it's usually kids. They want to watch. It's entertaining. It's cool. But once in a while, I'll get like people stopping and be like, hey, can I take like a photo or a video, and like, because I want to show somebody in my family. I'm spreading joy, and I don't even know who the people are. So yeah, I'm not the prettiest thing in the world. This is not the prettiest thing in the world. But yet somehow we not only can turn on and there's light inside of us, we actually bring light out into the actual world. Now this will change in time. I have plans for a new saber, but this one will always be my main. And if I ever retire this one, it will never sell. This one will go and it will be in place of honor on a meditation altar, on a display, so I can always remember where I started and the journey that I went on with it. But I don't imagine I'm going to retire this one anytime soon. Like, something could have to go horribly wrong with it before I even retire it. And even then, if something breaks inside of it, I'm just going to end up upgrading it. Because it's like me. Like, sometimes I've wanted to give up on myself because things weren't working properly and things were just not aesthetically as pleasing as I may have wanted. But you keep going, you change things up, you try to figure out what works for you, and eventually you grow to realize, hey, maybe this thing is the one for me. Like, as I said, I got this thing on a half off sale, and I've upgraded it over the years. It has still run me cheaper than other sabers out there. I've spent much more on almost every single saber I own. But this one is, even though it's one of the cheapest ones I own, it's still my favorite. And it's grown on me. I can't imagine having gone with another one, and oftentimes this is always with me. If it's not straight up on my belts, it's in my bag. It doesn't leave, like, when I go out, it comes with, because it is part of me. Just as the Force becomes part of you, that light inside of you becomes part of you. You can't just leave it at home. You can't turn it off. Like, some people can, but you shouldn't. It just doesn't make sense to just turn it off and just be like, okay, that's it. I'm away from my keyboard. Time to stop being a Jedi for a bit. It doesn't work like that. The only reason why you should be walking away from your keyboard as a Jedi is because you're realizing maybe that over attachment is affecting your ability to be a Jedi, and walking away, go on a walk, do something else, do a craft, do some art, maybe cook, go get some exercise, go do some chores, go visit somebody. That's where the Jedi stuff gets done, out in the real world. Um, I'm not going to get into anything like sort of political here, but I recently I've moved out on my own, and I've had to go shopping in like bigger stores. Typically, I would have just gone down to the local store, which is smaller. There's usually only like a couple people in there, um, if anybody, besides like the cashiers and myself. But now I've had to shop at bigger stores, the Aldi's, the Tesco, and all that, and there's tons of people in there. And I've noticed a lot of people don't seem to care about the other people around them. Like, for people watching in the distant future, during this time in human history, there was a pandemic that was killing people. And the scary part wasn't the fact that it's an invisible killer that can just latch onto you, and for 2 weeks you can be spreading it to everybody you know and love, and then you can all just die very suddenly. That wasn't the scary part. The scary part was when people stopped caring. It became normal. It became just a cosmic horror of what's the point, and a lot of people just don't care. There'll be systems in place to keep people safe, and they'll just butt in line because they want to go to that line, that aisle over there, because they want to get their beer, and they don't want to have to go through a one-way system. They will enter a store and just spend forever browsing, picking things up, looking at it, taking their mask down because it's fogging up their glasses, breathing all over it, and then be like, I don't want this, and putting it back on the shelf. That's the terrifying aspect of what's going on right now. As a Jedi, I stop before I go in, like before I even consider going to the store, and realize, like, think about it and go, okay, should I even be going out? What do I have right now? Could I go out tomorrow? If I do need to go out, I make a very strict list. What am I going in for? If I see something that I wasn't planning on getting and realizing, hey, maybe I should get that, I'll get it. But overall, I'm going directly to the aisles that I know I need to go to. Go foom, 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 and just grab everything and get out. Don't touch anything that I do not intend on buying. Do not breathe on anything. Do not touch my mask, my face, anything. Use hand sanitizer every single time I see it. Even if I haven't, like, even if I've just touched the things that I wanted to buy, I'll wash it again, just because other people will probably touch that thing. So we get through, get out. That's how I bring, and also try to help other people in, because like some people, like, they'll just block entire aisles, and sometimes it may be faster for me just to squeeze around, but sometimes I'll see somebody trying to come back the other way, and I'll step to the side and let them go by. I'll keep my distance, and people notice that. They notice that there's somebody, like, there's still some people taking it seriously, and the fact that it's literally just a matter of taking a couple extra steps, like physically taking a couple extra steps, and that's too much for some people. That's people leaving their light at home. They're turning it off, and they're going out, and they're just doing what they want to do rather than what needs to be done. So yeah, it may not be pretty. It may not be the most beautiful thing in the world. But it turns on when you need it to turn on. It turns off when you need to turn it off. And that's the most important aspect of these things. It's a blade that can be put away at the push of a button. And overall, it is still the same on the inside as everyone else. It can be beaten, it can be busted, it can be dinged, or it can be completely gilded, with every rare item and beautiful piece and the highest end materials. But if it never gets used, you've just essentially spent a lot of time on a very, very expensive flashlight. I'm not going to hold it on too long. because we're at near the 20-minute mark now. But I hope you've learned something today. If you have any questions, feel free to post them below, and I'll try to keep up with everybody. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to, if you're watching this on Facebook, be sure to drop a like on the Jedi Conclave page. If you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe. Post comments on other topics you'd like to hear about, and one of us will get back to you guys on our points of view. These videos, we were trying to make them more regularly, but sometimes it's hard to come up with topics. So if you guys can give us topic ideas, we are more than happy to try to get back to you about it. If you're interested in joining the Jedi Conclave, make sure you follow the Jedi Conclave on Facebook, and you should see once in a while we try to post a link to our Discord, where we have our training. We are still trying to work on our temple sites, where we can get our training done more on a proper level. But right now we're doing our best with the materials and systems that are available to us. It's been a very bumpy road. 2020 has just been insane on us, but we've pulled through. We managed to make it through. We're just still operating on Discord for the time being. That should change. Let's hope this year. Let's keep it positive. So thank you all for watching. May the Force continue to guide you.